financial problems, elder law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is, so what's the best way to get out of debt? Bankruptcy or no bankruptcy? Jenny Lingl.
Hi, Ken. Good to be here today.
Nice to see you. Brian Small.
Always
I think we're going to have to hear a lot from you on today's show.
I can tell you this answer right now. The best way to get out of debt is not to try to stay in the Ecuadorian embassy. That's all I'm going to say.
Jeffrey Kirshner, on that comment I have no comment. Jeffrey Kirshner, nice to see you.
Powerball. The answer to everything, Powerball. Can't win if you don't play.
But you have to have the right numbers.
Yes, you do.
And you have to live in like the middle of nowhere and buy your ticket at a gas
Are you
station.
saying nobody ever in the Tri-County area wins the Powerball?
No, it's always some guy in the middle of like Missouri.
I just would like to remember, I like to buy the ticket when it's 400 million or over, and I'm still trying to figure out what in my head says that $390 million is not enough, but $400 million warrants spending $10. I can't quite figure out why that works with me that way, but it does. The $64 question, now that we're drilling down from the Powerball pot, is bankruptcy the right choice, or is there a solution outside of bankruptcy?
Now, which one's better?
Yeah. Well, here's my first point.
The answer is it depends.
You're 100% correct. But my first point is this. It's not a $64 question.
Where'd you come up with $64 question?
Okay, so he's really old, and there used to be a game show called the $64,000 question, or something like that.
Something like that.
And there's an old TV show called, and there was a whole controversy.
So I turned it into a $64
game show. It was a movie. The guy.
Oh, Game Show, the movie.
Yeah.
You ever see the movie? It's a pretty good movie.
So, and it was a very good movie. The gentleman who the movie was based after just passed away at like 94 years old.
Great. Are you done on that whole segment?
Fabulous TV show so far. Just saying.
It was
a TV show about other TV
movie.
shows.
I did see the movie. All right, here's the point. If you assume there's no difference in how you get rid of the debt, and if you assume there's no difference as to any tax consequences on getting rid of the debt, and you assume there's no difference on cleaning up your credit history, then in that circumstance, filing bankruptcy, not filing bankruptcy isn't a factor, but those are factors. Those are always factors. How fast you get rid of the debt, whether there's tax consequences if you're trying to get rid of the debt outside of bankruptcy, and your credit history getting cleaned up are factors. And the question is, how do you deal with those factors?
Well, start off with the basic concept, right? You want to get out of debt. And everyone's goal is to get out of debt at the least cost possible.
And in the
fastest way possible.
Right.
Okay? So when you look at what your opportunities are to get out of debt, the number one opportunity you're going to explore is Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Okay? That's the first place you're going to go. Why? Because it is the least costly, most effective, most efficient way to get out of debt.
Brian, what is a Chapter 7 bankruptcy and how long
Did you
does
ever
it
play
take?
basketball?
No, I'm a short
You know what
guy.
this is?
It's a
Timeout.
Timeout. Okay. We want to do some rules. And in the rules, you jumped the gun.
No,
You
I set
went-
the stage.
You popped in and you immediately went to the foul line and started shooting free throws. And we haven't even jumped the ball to start the game.
Okay.
So I'm giving you a timeout. But you don't have to go to the corner.
I was going to say, if I can leave, I'll just go to work.
I want some rules, okay? And I want to do some rules. Now, rule number one, which is the precursor to what you just had said, and then I'm going to turn it right back to you, is absent a compelling reason You want to eliminate the debt in the fastest way at the least possible cost.
I said that.
And that's Chapter 7, right?
It is possibly Chapter 7. It's most likely Chapter 7.
I think we need to stop. A lot of people don't know the difference between a Chapter 7 and a Chapter 13, Brian.
All right, let me just give a little quick answer to that. So
Joe, how does Chapter 7 work?
Chapter 7 is debt elimination bankruptcy. You wipe out your debts, you get a fresh start. You keep most, if not all, of the assets that you own and eliminate the debts that you owe. That's what it's designed to do. It gives you a fresh start.
So if you qualify for a 7, you basically get to keep the assets that you have. You get to keep your retirement account. You file the petition. You discharge your debts. It's done in a 3-month period, right? 3 to 4 months?
Yes. And,
so
and,
it's
and just
quick.
to give people an
And
idea.
it's cheap because only
It's
cost is
inexpensive.
the expense of the bankruptcy. You're not giving any money to the creditors.
And understand this, if you're a family of 4 making $100,000 a year and you have debt problems, you're probably going to qualify for a Chapter 7. It's not an exclusive club that very few people can qualify to
now,
be in.
My rule number 1 said absent a compelling reason. Now I want to identify a couple occasional compelling reasons. There are sometimes through Chapter 7 doesn't work. You have to qualify for a 7, but let's say there's a compelling reason not to. Suppose you were seeking a job working for the government as an interpreter overseas. I've gone through this. If you have a bankruptcy, they will not certify you as an interpreter because if you have financial problems, the government deems you to be a security risk.
But if you have financial problems and you haven't eliminated the debt,
you have greater.
You're still going to be in the same position where you're probably not going to get your security clearance
Either way,
etc.
right? And so you'd file the bankruptcy, then you have to wait a few years and then apply for your security clearance. But for the most part, and if you're an investment advisor, you can still file the bankruptcy, but it may be a problem from the standpoint of your CV in trying to get other jobs and in terms of how you market yourself. So those are issues. But for the most part, there are usually not those compelling reasons to stop you from filing a Chapter
98% of the people that need a bankruptcy can file a bankruptcy.
Okay. You also have the people that just can't handle the word bankruptcy. There's a few of them.
There are people.
Which we deal with.
Tied to the stigma of the old days.
All right, we're going to take a break. We're
when
going to
you were a
work through
kid.
the rest of the rules as we go. We'll be back right after the break.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Samasco Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid and nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, we're back. Right as we came back to the break, I raised the issue, which is a big one, of the people that have this real stigma issue on bankruptcy.
So, I mean, it's from the past. You know, when you filed a bankruptcy 30 years ago, it carried with you for a long period of time. You felt it. It affected your ability to get credit. It affected your ability possibly to get a job. These days, with 1 million plus people filing a bankruptcy every year, and the fact is that your credit score healing itself at a much quicker pace, the stigma of bankruptcy is really gone. And
from our perspective, it makes no sense. Bankruptcy is a strategy of getting rid of the debt as fast as you can.
Well, when large corporations do it, it's seen as a strategic,
presidents
genius
do it.
move. So I
Plus,
think individuals and consumers need to
Corporations,
take that.
presidents,
And individuals,
everybody does it.
it's private. And they have to understand that people aren't going to find out. Most people aren't
Yeah.
going to find out that you
I
filed a
mean,
bankruptcy. And that's what people have a problem with, is the stigma
Nobody's-
of bankruptcy, yet the alternative is even worse.
You know how people
lose-
find out that you filed a bankruptcy? Because you told somebody. I mean, it's a
Right.
public document. Don't
But
get
nobody
me wrong.
goes and looks.
Nobody is
But
sitting
you have
there
to know
going,
how to
hey,
look.
wait, I saw a billboard on I-75. It had your name on it. It said you filed bankruptcy. That's not the way it happens. It gets shared because people tell somebody else.
Business bankruptcies, I don't know if it still does, used to get reported in the
In
little
cranes.
in cranes at the bottom.
Yeah,
And
who
that would
cares?
only be a business bankruptcy. And I had clients that a few times where cranes didn't publish an issue the last week of December because they were off for the holidays. So we would file during that week.
But it's better than the for
That was for
sale
business
sign
bankruptcy. That was years ago.
on your house.
Yeah, but
because
no,
you-
it doesn't.
there's
I
your
mean,
house. That's when people would
there's
find
no,
out.
The logic here is it's a tool and a strategy in terms of go back to the rule. You want to get rid of the debt the fastest way at the least possible cost. Why are you doing that? The quicker you get rid of the debt, the sooner you start saving your income for retirement and your future gets better, the faster you get rid of the debt.
Unfortunately, not everybody qualifies for a Chapter 7.
All right, rule number 3.
Which leads
if you
us to rule
don't
number 3.
qualify for Chapter 7, your best alternative is either to file a Chapter 13 or do debt resolution, which is outside of bankruptcy. So how is it that, when don't you qualify for a 7?
All
Brian?
right, so a lot of people don't qualify for Chapter 7 because they make too much money and they can't pass what's called the means test.
So they make $150,000 a year.
That might preclude them from filing a Chapter
They got
7. It might not.
$100,000 of equity in their home.
Too much equity, you can't protect all the equity in your home all
But
the time.
$300,000 in my IRA.
Yes, you can file. If
That
you,
doesn't matter.
If you were making $75,000 a year and you otherwise qualified and had $1 million in your IRA, you could still file bankruptcy and keep your $1 million
So
in
the
your
equity
IRA.
in the house can disqualify you, and too much income can disqualify you, and too much savings not in a retirement account can
Correct. If
disqualify
it's a
you.
qualified retirement plan, they can't get to it. So
Okay.
you can protect it.
All right, rule number 4. If the amount of your income is such that you will pay more in a Chapter 13, or it will take longer to get rid of the debt in a Chapter 13, then debt resolution is the correct choice.
Okay,
Now we're
before
at
we give
the
that
crux.
rule, let's explain the difference in what
Both
Chapter
of them.
13 is and what debt resolution is.
Go for it.
So Chapter 13 is structured reorganization over time, where you repay some or all of your creditors, some or all of the money you owe them over a period of 3 to 5 years.
Typically 5 years.
Only if you're above the median income. So if you're a family of 4 making less than $80,000 a year, you could be in a 3-year Chapter 13. It depends on your income. But
But in that case, you're more likely to be in a Chapter 7.
Maybe. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish. A lot of people, why do people file Chapter 13? They do it because they're facing a foreclosure and they want to save their home. Their car is facing repossession because they've fallen behind on it and they want to reorganize their car and keep their car. They're behind on property taxes.
All right, so the 13 is over time, and you're going to make a payment into the plan over time.
Correct. Restructuring your debt.
How is that
possibly paying nothing to your unsecured creditors all at the same time?
And then what's debt resolution?
Debt resolution is settling your debts, resolving them for pennies on the dollar. The question is, and the average settlement being 35 to 45 cents
So
on the
debt
dollar.
resolution is not bankruptcy.
No.
It's a strategy that we use to resolve debt in a 18 to 24 month period.
Exactly. So 18 to 24 months is clearly less than a 3-year to 5-year Chapter 13, but it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. In Chapter 13, sometimes I can pay as little as 0 cents on the dollar to the unsecured creditors, Visa, MasterCard, all the hospital bills. Whereas in debt resolution, we're settling the credit card bills because the analysis said that Chapter 13 would have paid more or wouldn't be as effective or wasn't necessary. There's a lot of reasons why Chapter 13 wouldn't be necessary, but these are the tools that are available.
We're going to do a case study in the next segment to illustrate the difference between debt resolution and Chapter 13. But here's the big point to take out of this is when we analyze, we've ruled out Chapter 7. Now we're comparing how much will I pay into the plan over what period of time in Chapter 13 versus how much will I pay to get rid of the debt doing debt resolution and how long will it take? And the answer is whichever one gets us out of debt fastest at less cost is the better choice between the two.
And what else do you have to accomplish? Remember, debt resolution doesn't solve the problem of being behind on the house. Debt resolution doesn't solve the problem of being behind on your property taxes. Chapter 13 does.
That's rule number 6. If you're facing foreclosure on your home, the only way to stop the process is to save the home, is to file a Chapter 13
before the sale.
Now, seems as though we did rule number 6, we might as well do rule number 5, which is if you have income tax debt, you always need to consider a Chapter 7 bankruptcy as an available option, as an alternative to an offer in compromise. Now,
correct. We always consider it, and the reason is that an offer in compromise has a 5-year stay clean rule, which means if you have an accepted and paid offer for the next 5 years, you have to file timely and not incur any additional tax liabilities. So for some of our clients that are self-employed or going into opening a business, that might be difficult. So we might put them into a Chapter 7 instead.
see, so we've got these rules and they intertwine. We have to figure out how to apply them. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to do a case study to try to kind of lay it all out.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Will I outlive my money?
Medicaid is so confusing.
A will, or do I need a trust?
What if mom needs to go in a nursing home?
At Samasco Law, we have the answers to all of these questions. Our attorneys will eliminate the confusion and develop a plan that's right for you. We are dedicated to veterans benefits, assisted living, and nursing home care. Samasco Law can help prepare you for a long future. Call Samasco Law today.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
Time for announcements. I want to remind our viewers to listen to us for Law and Reality Live on the Praise Network, 93.5, 98.3, and 99.9 FM, Tuesdays 10 o'clock a.m. and Saturdays 7 a.m. Also on KISS 105.9, Sundays 7 o'clock a.m. Be sure and sign up for our monthly contest. Free $50 Visa gift card, Law and Reality hat, and a copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. Just go to the website, pop in your name, and you're entered. It's a great deal. Be sure and take advantage of it. Also, when you go to do that, like us on Facebook and also Google us and give us a review if you can. Just go to Google, put in THAV GROSS, pop in what you have to say. We'd really appreciate it. Got seminars coming up. On Wednesday, May 1, 6 o'clock to 7:30 p.m. Debt relief seminar called Debt Free from the Dream to Reality. We're going to talk about all the methods we use to preserve future income for savings, how you get there and retire without debt so that you have money to live on in retirement. Special segment by Jenny Lingl, How to Resolve Tax Issues. Attendees get a free copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. Sign up at thavgross.com, lawandreality.com, or call 888-235-HELP. Then on Wednesday, May 29th, 6 to 7:30 p.m., we have an estate planning seminar called Estate Planning 101, The Absolute Essentials. This is a nuts and bolts seminar on what you need to know about an estate plan and what are the components and how you go about accomplishing that goal. Basic elements of an estate plan, documents you need while living, making sure you have assets, your assets go where you want them to go upon your demise, how to avoid probate and what you need to know about probate if you get involved in it. Attendees get a gold certificate worth $300 off the cost of an estate plan. Just sign up at thavgross.com, lawandreality.com, or call 888-235-HELP. And I want you to remember you can always come in to THAV GROSS for a free consultation. Just call 888-235-HELP or go to the website lawandreality.com or thavgross.com and click on the appropriate links and we'll contact you to schedule your consult. Debt issues with Brian, tax issues with Jenny, estate planning issues with Brian, elder law issues with Pat, business law issues with myself, disability issues with Jeff Kirshner. All you got to do is pop onto the website, call, take advantage of a free consult. Free consults are not meet and greets. We analyze your problem, come up with the solution, tell you what it'll cost to resolve the problem and what the next steps are to take. Also, go to the website for free reports. Brand new report, Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions, written by Jenny Lingl and myself. How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure, Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit, and The Retiree's Guide to Social Security from Pat Samasco. They're all available on the website. Just download and click the link, and they'll be sent to you. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV GROSS, Samasco Law, Jeff Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, so we're back. Before we do the case study, I just want to say, so you've got what I want you to, if you're watching the show, to get out of this is we take the rules that we've developed and we apply them to the facts as a way of analyzing and migrating through the process to come to the smartest, quickest solution. So you start with the 7. 7 doesn't work, then it's maybe a chapter 13 or maybe debt resolution, which is cheaper, which is better, which is faster. Along the way, we have other little hurdles we have to watch out for. Are you facing foreclosure? Do you have a tax liability? Because those change the answers in terms of how we go. That's where we apply the rules. Now, here's our case study. Jack and Jill, they're in their mid-40s. No comments on the pale, Brian. Jack makes $95,000 a year. He's an engineer. Jill makes $50,000 a year. She's an interior decorator, self-employed. 1 kid, 5 years old.
They live on a hill.
$100,000 of credit card debt, house payment $1,500 a month, 2 car payments $700. They like to spend money. They go on vacations. They live well. That kind of explains why they've got $100,000 of credit card debt and they really don't have any cash in the bank. Rule number 1. Let's apply it. Will a Chapter 7 work, Brian?
So in this situation, Jack and Jill generally have too much income to file a Chapter 7. They don't have non-consumer debt that exceeds consumer debt, so that of Chapter 7 is not going to be an available opportunity.
So we've applied Rule 1, 7 doesn't work. Now we go to Rule number 3. Which resolves the debt faster at the least cost? Chapter 13 or debt resolution?
So,
give me a nail sketch of the Chapter 13.
So in this situation, we look at income minus expenses, and Jack and Jill have $2,500 left over per month.
Yeah, because here where I'm getting is they had $12,000 of income a month, figuring their net income after tax around $8,500.
Seems reasonable.
Figuring their regular expenses that would be permitted by the bankruptcy court of $6,000.
Now, if you ask Jack and Jill, they don't have any money left in their budget
because their expenses are $9,000 a month.
They're wasting a lot of money. But in the world of bankruptcy, it's irrelevant what Jack and Jill think about their budget.
It's what's allowable.
It's what's allowable, the allowable expenses.
It's what you can get the bankruptcy court to allow.
Yes, it is what the bankruptcy. Yes, right. I mean I push the edge of the envelope as hard as I can, right. But no matter what, in this case, Jack and Jill are going to have between $2,000 and $2,500 left over a month.
$2,500 a month, and then we call that DMI,
disposable monthly income.
Okay, correct. So in a Chapter 13, they would have to pay $2,500 a month in. Times 60 months, that would be $150,000, but they only owe $100,000 of credit card
So
debt.
they wouldn't have to pay in $2,500 a month. They would have to pay in enough to cover $100,000 worth of debt over 5 years.
So I was estimating it at about 46 months.
So that you're not incorrect. Or we could spread it out over 60, and but it's still paying everybody back in full.
100%. Okay, so now do debt resolution.
Okay, so at $100,000 worth of credit card debt, the average settlement, let's just pick a number, say 38%, okay? If we take 38%, we need $38,000 to settle $100,000 worth of credit card debt. Well, they looked in their back pocket, it's not there.
Attorney fees?
But 8.5% of the debt.
Okay, so the total amount that they need to get rid of the debt is about $46,600. They've been paying $2,500 a month on the credit cards, 2.5% of the $100,000 debt all this time.
Which makes the power of the minimum monthly payment work for them. In 24 months or less, can they come up with enough money, $46,600, to pay off?
So let's divide
that amount.
$600 divided by $2,500 a month, the amount they've been paying. That's 18 months.
I was going to say it's a little over 18 months.
So here's the point. In debt resolution for Jack and Jill, they're out of debt. They can't do a Chapter 7. They're out of debt in 18 months. They're done. They didn't file a bankruptcy.
They're not quite done. They didn't have to file bankruptcy. They're out of debt as the credit cards go. The question then is there a taxable event that occurred by settling their credit cards? If there is, it's because either they are solvent, both before and after.
And if there is a tax liability, that cost gets layered in, but all it would do is extend the time from 18 months probably to around 21, 22 months, because the tax liability would spread over 2 years and may come out to about another 10 grand. The whole point is it's far more effective in debt resolution for Jack and Jill than it is for debt resolution, but it depends on the income and the facts of the case. Have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.